It's ridiculous to believe that grades are based on race, says Thomas Sowell. He debunks that myth in this video below. Let's watch it.
What's the state of prejudice in the United States today compared to, earlier years in your life?
It depends on the base year, like most comparisons. If you take 30 years ago, greater. Certainly greater in the academic world. In the book that I wrote about colleges, I urged minority parents not to think that because they had a good experience on a particular college campus 30 years ago, that their children will have that good an experience today, because the racial tension is enormous on many campuses. The colleges themselves try to say that they're victims of the racism of the larger society. And in point of fact, the racism on the campuses is greater than that in the larger society, in many campuses. And what I worry about is that they're going to graduate into the general society, blacks and whites alike, who hate each other's guts, and who can be the leaders of new racial strife for the future.
What's causing that on college campuses?
One of the factors is the preferential policies. But it's more than just that, because that in itself sets in motion a series of events which add to the original resentment over the preferential policies. That is, you put yourself in the position of a black kid who comes out of a ghetto school, and he's gone through for 12 years with nothing but A's and B's, without a great deal of effort. And now he finds himself for the first time in his life in a predominantly white environment. And he finds that when he works twice as hard as he's ever worked, all he gets back for his work is a D. And that there is also a minority establishment. This is true not only of blacks, but of minorities in general. Establishment which tells him, yes, this is the racism on this campus. That the white power structure is trying to keep you down. And it has to have a certain plausibility to it. It would have had a certain plausibility to me had I come along in that era. Now, I was fortunate enough in one sense that having grown up in the South and then transferred to New York, I was shifted between different levels of education. And so I was a top student in my class in North Carolina, and then I was immediately the bottom student in my class in Harlem. And I was way behind whoever was next to the bottom, because the educational differences were just that great. Very painful period of adjustment. But there was no racial issue involved, since all the other kids who were ahead of me were all black. And so I got through that. And then for a second time in my life, I'd gone out on my own when I was 17, and I didn't return to college full time until I was about 25. For the second time in my life, I went into an environment that was very difficult compared to what I'd been used to. And once again, I was way behind. I was in danger of flunking out of school the first semester.
Where were you then?
Harvard. It's really incredible to, for the first time in your life, in 10 years, you're a full-time student, and you're a full-time student at Harvard without a high school diploma. So there were little difficulties.
And studying what?
At that stage, I was studying just general things, but I majored in economics, and all my degrees are in economics. And again, an enormous adjustment to make, but there was no one there to tell me, all these white professors have it in for you, and that's why you're doing badly. Because first of all, I had done badly in Harlem, and I'd overcome it. I was doing badly there, and I overcame it. But
what happened take that Harvard experience through? How long did you stay at Harvard?
Well, I graduated.
Graduated from Harvard. I'm sorry,
Harvard.
I thought you said earlier you went to Howard.
I went there for a year and a half, and then I transferred to Harvard.
Oh, okay.
See, but I was going to Howard in the evening while working full-time during the day. So when I went to Harvard, I was a full-time student for the first time in 10 years. And so that was...
And what years did you go to Harvard? Remember?
I graduated class of 58. So that you can understand how the student would find this plausible. I talked to a black man recently, a lawyer, who said when he was in law school, he was told when he first got there that Professor X never gives black students more than a C. And he got a B+. But there was great consternation, because one of the myths had fallen. But it's truly criminal what goes on in terms of using and manipulating the students to serve all kinds of external purposes.
Can you give us an idea of the kind of external purposes you're talking about?
Oh, political purposes. I just a couple of days ago was told by someone from Wellesley that there's a divestment campaign at Wellesley, demonstrations, the whole thing. But those black girls who did not want to participate in that were threatened with violence. And that's not unique. At Stanford, the Hispanic students, some Hispanic students, have complained that the Hispanic establishment has threatened them if they don't want to go along with what's being said and done. And they claim that only 15% of the Hispanic students at Stanford have ever attended a single event sponsored by the Hispanic establishment, which speaks boldly in their name. And so you have this kind of thing going on at these schools across the country. Again, notice that once you let in the students who cannot meet the academic standards, you're going to end up having to let in professors who can't meet the academic standards. You're going to have to create courses that don't meet the academic standards.
Correct.
All right, great video from Thomas Sowell. Like, share, comment. Everything's a huge help. Have a great day.